Learn all about living in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico from expats Cathy Rice and Jerry Foote in this video interview with expats in Mexico. When did you guys start coming to Mexico?
1994.
95.
Or 95. Yeah, 1995.
And where did you come?
Here.
Puerto Vallarta.
Why Puerto Vallarta?
Yeah.
Well, I had a friend who had gotten married here, believe it or not. And she said, nobody knows about this. So Cathy, if you ever have a chance to go, go. It is the most wonderful experience you'll ever have. Well, Jerry and I'd only been dating less than a year, and we decided to go on a vacation, and we were bouncing back and forth where. And I said, you know, my friend said Puerto Vallarta. Well, back then, we rented a VHS tape from the library, or from one of the video stores, I think, and watched a VHS tape about Puerto Vallarta, and we decided, why not? She had a good time. Let's go. So that's how we got here.
So 1995, first time in PV.
Yeah.
And did you then make subsequent trips down here?
Every year.
Every year.
Every year.
Every year.
Wow. So no other area in Mexico appealed to you, or you just fell in love with the place?
I think you had had experience with Cancun, correct?
Which wasn't especially a good experience. This Puerto Vallarta has more of the Mexican culture feel, although not like internal cities, because it still is a young city. And where other ones go back to the 1500s when the Spaniards were here, and they had the architecture. We don't have all of that. But it still felt like you were truly in Mexico rather than Cancun. I didn't, Hard Rock Cafe here and this there, and I mean everything was so Americanized. I didn't really feel like I was in Mexico. So, and we did want a beach resort when we went on vacation, and so that cut it down quite a ways. So.
Yeah, when you're from Kansas.
Yeah.
Beaches are important.
Yeah.
I would think so.
Yeah.
So why did you make the decision to retire down here, actually make the full-time move?
Oh gosh, Jerry, you want to tell that story?
No,
No, we'd love to hear it, please.
I knew I was going to end up here the first year we were here. I mean, it just was a perfect fit. I was just so comfortable here. It's like I had found home. Now, Cathy was a little bit slower on the uptake there. Even up to the last few years, she was planning on retiring here. But she was still in this mindset of, 6 months here and 6 months back in the United States. 6 months here, 6 months back in the United States, which I wasn't of that mindset at all. But there was no reason to try and convince her otherwise. I just let time go on, and I figured she'd see the sense of all of it, because it's much more economically feasible when you're in one place. Trying to maintain two places can be pretty expensive.
It made more sense to be there. So what year did you move here?
2015. We got married, and we'd been together 20 years. We got married here at the Marriott in 2015, January.
How romantic.
And then we went home.
It was.
And we sold, yeah, it truly was. We sold everything we had, cars, house, possessions, and what we didn't sell, we donated to community centers. And so we came down here with, I think, 6 suitcases full of stuff. And we had, probably twice that much left in Kansas City that we left at her daughter's house. But anything big was virtually gone. We made one more trip to Kansas City, because back then we weren't permanent residents, so you can only stay in Mexico on a tourist visa 6 months. Then
180 days, right?
Yeah, you have to step out.
Right.
And so we had to go back anyway. So then we come back with another 6 suitcases, and that was just about it until just a couple of years ago.
And I just
Or a
want
year
to
ago.
clarify, 6 suitcases, it was 2 big ones each, and then a carry-on and a backpack. So it wasn't that much stuff.
No.
Not because you're trying to figure out, what is it I need to bring? Now, we've been here every year, but that was hard because Jerry said, we bring the necessities. Well, what I think the necessities are and what he thinks is 2 different things.
Oh, that's
So,
interesting. A little
yes,
compromise.
A little compromise had to go in there. And so that was the reason why we left some of that stuff. I mean, what do you do with your yearbooks? What do you do with those things that people have given you over the years that you really just don't think you can part with? And a good friend of mine said, why don't you make 3 piles? This has to go. This is a maybe, and this is a stay at home till I can figure out what to do with it. And so that helped ease the strain, because it was, you know, when you get married in a year and then you sell a house and you're due down here in September and you don't retire till a week before, and in the middle of the whole thing, you sold your house early, so you not only have sold your house and need to move to Puerto Vallarta, but for 30 days before that, you now have to lug all of this stuff to an apartment that you rent for 30 days. It was crazy. So I realized good decisions probably weren't going to be made. So I left a lot of stuff that was questionable with my daughter in her basement. And then the rest of it just worked out. We just said, we don't need this. We do need this. Now, 5 years ago when we moved here, there were a lot of things you couldn't get in the grocery stores and things like that. But now you can just about get anything. And so I wouldn't worry as much about the necessities today as I did 5 years ago.
It's becoming a big city.
It is. It's much different. Don't you agree?
Yes, and our opinions changed. In '95, yeah, we wanted to be here and enjoy the weather, the beach, the mountains, you know, especially being from Kansas. But there was one big concern for us. By the time we got here, we were going to be in our the latter half of our 60s. And so healthcare was a big thing. And healthcare was okay here back in '94, but every year we came, it got better and better. And it's close to American standards. Some people rate it better, some people rate it less. I think it's probably a little less, but it's much more affordable.
Do you maintain any kind of health insurance in the United States and go back for any?
Yes.
Yeah, we have Medicare.
So you have Medicare plus a supplement?
Right.
Yeah.
So anything that's big, you'll go back and
Right.
have that taken care of?
Yeah, one of the reasons is, 5 years ago, the cost for healthcare here wasn't that great. But we decided until we'd lived here a little while, let's just let it ride. Let's see what happens. Well, because of the situation that we find ourselves, all of us here in Puerto Vallarta, you need health insurance here in Puerto Vallarta or in Mexico, whether you're short-term or you're long-term. Doesn't make any difference. You need coverage because the cost of healthcare has increased substantially. And number 2, if you have medevac insurance, which we both do, in the event that they can't take care of us here, they'll send us back to the U.S. And if you go back to the U.S., you need some sort of coverage. So we just always felt like you either pay for it now or you pay for it later.
You have a lovely apartment here just a block from the beach,
Thank you.
right where the Malecon begins.
Yes.
It's lovely. So how did you stumble upon this place?
That's
Well,
yours.
we discovered this street, Paraguay, which is only six blocks long from the Bonaventure Hotel to Rosita Hotel. It's a block off the main drag, and like you said, a block from the ocean. And last couple of years we were down here, we discovered a little restaurant on the beach called Barracudas, and it was supposed to have the best tacos, and it had pretty good tacos. You know, we weren't experts then, you know, like we are now.
But it had good tacos.
But, yeah, they were.
You're old timers.
By
now.
tourist
They were
standards,
great
it
in
has
that.
good
Yeah,
tacos.
they were something we hadn't had before, and so we really fell in love with the area. It was outside of the romantic zone or the old town where all the hustle bustle was, but it was right next to Centro, and like you said, right next to the Malecon.
How big is your place? It's like 2-bedroom, 2-bath, or
It's 1,800 square feet.
about 1,800 square feet? Yeah, that's lovely. So it's a small unit.
Yeah, it's 2-bedroom, 2-bath, with a laundry.
I mean, the building being
The
small,
building,
I mean, so it's
yes.
very
There's
manageable.
only-
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
What,
eight
units?
units, yeah.
Yeah, there's 8 units.
perfect. How much do you pay a month for this?
We're a little under 1,300 right now.
1,300? Oh, for downtown in this location,
Yeah.
It's perfect.
that's good. And you get the sea breezes. You open your
Yes, yeah.
Yeah,
sliders and get the sea
house is
breeze.
constantly open except during the summer months, and it still is at night.
Yeah.
In the summer months.
Do you shop at little markets around here?
Yeah, yeah. We go to the markets, and a lot of people won't go to Lay Supermarket because it's old and it's usually used by tourists and locals. But we don't have a problem walking down there. It's 2.5 blocks away. And Jerry's down there about every day just to pick up this or that.
And the prices are reasonable?
Oh, very
Yeah,
reasonable.
they're better than
Yeah.
Walmart.
Produce is superb.
Is superb here. So no matter where you go now, a lot of our friends who live here year round will go to Costco to shop and to La Comer to shop. But we find most of what we need in our little community. Maybe we'll pick up some meat or some necessities at Costco, but I can't remember the last time we were in La Comer.
No.
Do you guys have a car?
No.
No car, so you don't have that insurance and all the expense that goes with having an automobile.
Yeah.
Or the headache.
Yeah, oh yeah.
With Uber, it comes right to the door. When we first moved down here, there was an Uber, but the taxi stand is right around the corner, and the buses are a block away. So
And the buses are less than $1 to go anywhere.
yeah,
That's right. We like to ride the buses more than anything, or walk. And during the winter, we can walk just anywhere with no sweat.
Yeah.
But even in the summer, we walk and take the buses because now most of the buses are air conditioned. So
Yes.
there's no reason.
What about if you want to go to Punta de Mita or south to Boca, or maybe even want to go over to Guadalajara? What do you do?
We can take a bus, an ATM bus.
The first class buses.
The
They're really
ATM
marvelous,
bus,
aren't they?
They are
Yeah,
marvelous.
I've taken them. They're wonderful.
If you want to pay for an Uber for a private ride, I guess you could. The Boca buses are just
Yeah,
down in Centro.
right.
It's
and
quite easy.
car rental isn't bad here. At least I don't think it's bad compared to what we paid in the United States. We can rent a new SUV, including all the insurance, for around $50 a day. So south to Barra
De Navidad.
and for 3 days, and we took a couple that we took with us a couple that lived here in this the condo unit, actually right below us, and they did have a car, but it was an older one, like a 2003, and so we insisted that we rent
That's a pretty drive through the mountains down there,
It's
right?
gorgeous.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous.
Then you come out in Costa Correas.
Yeah, and we've always we've taken several tours, like to Copper Canyon and to Querétaro, San Miguel, we took a tour to the Copper Canyon. But we went out and explored ourselves, just jumped, we got on an ETM bus, planned to be gone 10 days, made the hotel arrangements, and then toured all over outside of Mexico City and to Querétaro. We love to do that.
Mexico has so many wonderful places to see.
Yeah,
It's so
it's
beautiful
surprising
places.
because of the Spaniards in the 1500s.
And you're both fully retired. You're not
No.
dabbling, doing some other things. But you, Cathy, are very involved with Democrats abroad.
Yes, yes,
So that you're busy right now with
Right
making
now.
sure that everybody votes.
yes. So everybody vote. Register to vote, please. Please.
So what do you do for entertainment around town?
Oh boy, we're looking forward to summer because we're exhausted. We attended What a Good Drag last week. It was a fundraiser for the women's shelter. We attended a dinner just a couple of days before that for the spay and neuter clinic, which was a fun evening sitting with some Mexicans who volunteer and help. We just had an enjoyable evening. You can go to the theater, you can go to the movies. There are several places to pick up a movie. You can do a shuffle around town. They have the businesses open late and you can shop late. Or you can just meet friends for a drink. There's always something going on.
Have you found some good local restaurants that are inexpensive but terrific?
Yes, yes. And I think
Be sure not to mention them because we don't want them overrun.
I think for us, staying around Centro and staying in Cinco de Diciembre has been a delight because you find all the little mom and pop places to eat.
Sure.
And they're wonderful. Versailles area has another good group of restaurants, and of course Old Town and Romantic Zone have tons.
Right.
So,
what are the three things that you guys absolutely love about Vallarta?
oh boy, the sun. The sun,
Shines all the time.
all the time. And even on the cloudy days, it's just a little reprieve and a day to rest. But the sun and the beautiful weather is, I just can't get beyond it. And the fact that I can walk everywhere and I feel so free, it's just unbelievable to me. This probably the other things is the inexpensive cost of living, because Jerry and I don't feel like, and we've talked about this many times, we don't feel like we have to sacrifice this to do this. Not owning a car is our choice, not that we can't afford it. So I think when you have choices and you don't feel like things are being taken away, it really helps. And I think the Mexican people are the most wonderful people in the world. They're the most giving, loving people. And they don't care whether you're a gringo. They just love people.
The climate, of course, having come from Kansas City, it used to be like 10 degrees in January and 10 degrees Fahrenheit. In Kansas City, when we left and flew down here in past years, and you get down here and it's 80 degrees when you step off the plane. But the climate, and also that kind of goes to the ocean on this side and the mountains. So, the two most, it seems like powerful and beautiful things are mountains and ocean to me, and they're both right here. The culture, which is the people, they are very welcoming. You walk down the street and you pass somebody, it's hola, buenos dias. I mean, it's just custom. Our landlord comes over. It's the first thing they do is ask you how you are. I mean, they don't just go into, okay, did the water get fixed, or did this? Is the refrigerator working okay? I mean, there's a greeting, and then there's a hug, a kiss on the cheek.
I do have to say, the one thing that was the hardest for me, not so much Jerry, but for me, I had to learn to have patience, to calm down. Everything truly doesn't have to be done today. And so that was the hardest lesson for me, is although we've been tourists for so long, living down here, well, why aren't they waiting on us? Well, why haven't they come so I can get my bill? Why don't they move faster? Why don't they show up on appointments on time? Why don't they this? Why don't they that? It's their culture. They are more relaxed. That's probably why they don't die of stress. But not so much Jerry, like I said, we did have to just learn to chill.
Well, just relax and spend the rest of the day on the beach and have a great time. I really appreciate your time,
Thank you, Robert.
and thanks so much for talking to Expats in Mexico.
Thank you.